All right, so we were discussing yesterday about using a spreadsheet to kind of track your profit first distributions. So I'm going to kind of let me delete this real quick because I was messing with it. I want to kind of run through with you on the template that I shared, so you can kind of see how it works, and you can set it up to kind of fit your own. So let me dig into this real quick with you. So again, here's your spreadsheet. I've put little notes here and there. So if it says, note above, you'll notice this little arrow right here. If you hover over it, it'll tell you, you know, what the cell is, or what you can do here is reminders. But I'll run through this with you real quick so that way you guys can all see how it works. So first and foremost, you have your accounts, right? So your OPEX, your owner's comp, your profit, and your tax accounts. And in this case, like I have an insurance account as well, so that's in there. If you don't want to use it, delete it. Or if you want to use it for something else, that's fine. So those are your accounts, and these are the percentages that we are allocating to those accounts every month. This is interactive. Like there are formulas over here that relate to here. So say you're like, oh, I'm not doing 50%, I'm doing 45%. Well, now it'll change your allocations of whatever starting amount you have every 2 weeks to show 45% in this case. That's going here. If we change it back to 50%, if you watch that cell over here, it will then change it to 50% of whatever amount is down here. Okay. You'll also see it'll tell you if you're using 100% or not. So if we change that to 45%, it still changes this, but it tells you, hey, you got an extra 5% over here that you need to use on something. You need to put it somewhere. So whatever, you can change this to 10%. And then again, it all changes according to whatever these percents are. Okay, so it's pretty easy. These are the only, you don't have to change each cell. You just got to change this depending upon what your personal percentages are. When you start out every 2 weeks, the starting amount, surprise, surprise, is where you want to start. So however much money you have in your income account, that's what you're going to enter into these cells. So, like I discussed before, February or the 10th and the 25th are when I do my distributions. That's based on the recommendations in the book. It's what I've been doing for 2.5 years. It works perfectly. It's just very simple for me to remember. So, the 10th comes around, I'll look at my income account, whatever amount you got in your income account, put into here. So let's say we got 12 grand that we made the last couple of weeks. We're going to put that there. It will then do all the math for you, showing you what your distribution percentages will be. Now you'll see below here, I have a couple of expenses that I pull out first. So if you're subcontracting out work, say you subcontract out a $1,000 job, right? But the subcontractor charged you $500. That $500 is not yours. It will show up in your income account because obviously the customer paid you 1,000 and then you had to pay 500 to your sub out guy, but that 500 was never yours. So you cannot go and try to distribute that 500. It's going to throw off your math eventually. Okay. So using that example, let's say, okay, we had that guy come in and we had to pay him $500 for the job. List that in here, right? List out all your sub out expenses over those last 2 weeks. And it will then change the amount that you have dividable throughout the rest of these accounts. So it's not going to take that $500 and include it in here anymore. You're going to take that $500 from your income account and send all of it to your OPEX account because that's where it was pulled from. That's where it should be pulled from. If you're paying sub out people, you should pay it from your OPEX account. And then the leftover amount, it will leave here and still divide that up. So in this case, I would take that $500 and first do a transfer, sending that 500 to refund my OPEX account. And then I would be able to break in and then do all of my other distributions. So then I would send, the 5175 to the OPEX, the 2300 to owner's comp, et cetera, et cetera. In my case, we have ClearBraw expenses. So if you do ClearBraw, you understand how that works. Like we buy in bulk. So if we buy several rolls, that might be like a massive charge 1 month and then nothing for the next couple of months, depending upon how much you do. So whenever I buy ClearBraw, I immediately refund my OPEX account that amount. So whatever, let's say we spent $3,000 on ClearBraw this particular pay period. Same thing. I'm going to take that 3,000 out from my income account and immediately reimburse the OPEX account that amount. If you're not doing ClearBraw, if you don't have another big expense that varies like that every month, don't worry about that cell. Just skip it or delete it or whatever you want. But it's in there because I just basically made a copy of my template to share with you guys. So again, you'll see here that our total is still 12,000 that we grossed. But after those expenses, after PPF and sub out in my case, your remaining amount is 8,500, which is reflected up here as well. So it's taking 8,500 and then dividing it by these percents and showing you here what you're sending where. Okay, that's the bulk of what you got to do right there. Below that, I have employers' payroll taxes for my employees. So if you have employees, you know this, but when you run payroll and they have taxes pulled out, as the business has to match some of those taxes. And so for us, I use the tax account to pay for those taxes, not the OPEX account. The problem is my payroll all comes out of the OPEX account, no matter what. The payroll company will not let me say, well, I want my gross pay to come out of this and my taxes to come out of this account and the owner's pay to come out of this account, and they won't do all that. Okay, so we got to kind of refund as needed. So if you're running payroll, it will show you, okay, this is the employer's match taxes that were spent. So say whatever, it was like a couple $100 that I had to match for this pay period. I will list that there. Actually, let me change this all to, while I'm doing this, accounting, so it'll show up as a dollar amount. And then I have employer payroll tax for owner's comp. So the amount of money that the business is having to match when I pay myself and my sister, the owners, also gets refunded. Well, let's say that was also 200. I will also change this all to accounting real quick. So this is all getting updated in your guys' template that I linked. So it'll show as a dollar amount. So essentially what I would do here is I would take $200 from my tax account and reimburse the OPEX account that. And I would take $200 from the tax account and reimburse the owner's comp account, because again, this is taxes matched by the business for the owner's pay, and reimburse the owner's compensation account there. I like to use my tax account to cover as much tax stuff as possible. So my tax preparation, what I'm paying my CPA, the taxes themselves when I have to pay them, and again, the employee matched taxes that come out every pay period. All that I want to reimburse my OPEX account so that way I'm not pulling tax-based stuff from my OPEX account and basically making it run leaner than it needs to. I want to make sure that's running at 100%, and that's what the tax account is there for, is to cover those taxes. I don't do this monthly. I have the check boxes in here monthly, which I'll cover in a second. I actually do this quarterly, but if you want to list the amount and then add it up quarterly, you can do that. Or if you just want to do it every pay period, that's fine too. But that's what those notes are here for. Vault balance. So let's say, coming into 2021, your vault balance, you had $10,000 put away in your vault. And if you remember, your vault is basically like your big savings account for your business. This is for like big purchases. You're purchasing a building, you're purchasing a new van, whatever, or emergencies where whatever, your shop was shut down for a month or something like that, and you had no income, but you still had bills that you had to make up for, and you didn't have enough to cover it. This is like your emergency fund here, or your big purchase fund in your vault. So this is saying, okay, we started the year with this amount. What it will do is it will add in however much. It's basically going to do a running balance for you. So you see over here, it's saying, okay, well, we started with this amount, but right now we have $11,762.50. Basically what it's doing is it's adding this cell to your vault. Excuse me. This cell down here is telling you what your profit distribution is going to be at the end of that third quarter. So you'll see it happens quarterly into the third month. I'm sorry. So this is the end of the first quarter. This is the end of the second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. So I like it just because basically this amount is dividing however much you've put away in your profit account over this quarter by 2. So this $1762.50, that's 50% of it. So half of that is going to go into your pocket as the owner. That's your quarterly bonus, and the other 50% is going to be allocated into your vault, which is reflected here to keep that running balance going. So again, let's say we did we did 15,000 this next month. You see here, it added saying, okay, look, our profit account just grew by this amount. So it's taking this here and adding it into this and then dividing it by 2. And then it's showing you, okay, this is what your vault balance is going to be when you finally do that distribution. So it's just kind of like a visual indicator for me to see, how stuff is compiling. Um, Profit distribution, again, that's literally all it is showing you how much you're going to distribute when that time comes. Tax account balance, I will edit that as well, but basically you can, did I do it already? Let's say we had, whatever, $8,000 here. I'll edit this, but basically I'll make this so it'll be a running balance to show you.
I'm having trouble hearing you.
Stupid watch. I'll use this to make a running balance to show you how much is going to be allocated into your tax account, so that way you can have a visual indicator of that as well. That's how this whole conversation got started, is what do you do with extra tax money if you have it in there? Um, Owner's bonus. This I use just to notate, say my owner's compensation account is growing faster than what I'm actually paying myself salary. And I don't want to just let a whole bunch of that money sit there. I want to put it to use. So if if it ends up like when we get to this quarter, into the quarter, and it's like, hey, we got a lot of money sitting over there, I'll cut myself an extra bonus and my sister an extra bonus. We still keep like some set to the side in case we have a slow month. That way, um, we'll still be able to fund our paychecks. But if it's getting fat, like it got fat a couple of quarters last year, then we'll cut ourselves an extra bonus. So I just kind of use this here to notate if that happens, how much it was, and when it happened. Vault draw. So if you have to, for whatever reason, use that money in your vault, make a note of it here. This is just what I do. So whatever, let's say you got over here and you're like, hey, she's tired. Let's put this on. And hungry. Shay, you're like all over the place. Do not disturb for now. This is like a daily thing. She's tired and hungry. Back to what I was saying. If you have to, pull money from the vault, let's say whatever you decided to buy a van, you put $5,000 down here. Just put 5,000 in here. Right click on it, and you can insert a note and say you did this for van down payment. Again, just a visual indicator. You will, however, need to come up and manually edit your running balance up here. Okay. So just keep note of that. I haven't integrated any formulas for that, but I do that as just a visual indicator of what did I use that vault money for if I ever have to draw from it. Owner's comp draw. This is more so if I had to pull from that to cover something. So when we first started, we were putting too much money in the owner's comp account, and because of that, our OPEX account was getting low. So I had to draw from the owner's comp a couple of times until we figured out our percentages correctly to cover the OPEX. Once we got that figured, I haven't had to use this in over a year, but it's still in there. PPP loan withdrawals. If you did get a PPP loan, then you can list the amount in here and do the same thing. You can insert a note saying what that PPP loan was actually used for. Let's clear these notes out. Again, if you have it, go ahead and use it. If you don't, then you can just ignore it or delete it. And you will want to download this template when you open it up. It won't let you edit it just by opening it, so download the template and then you can open it in your own Google Sheets to use it on your own. Last part is just your steps. So these are the steps you'll want to go through pretty much every 2 weeks. So obviously, did you do the distributions? Refund OPEX account, the sub amount. So again, that's talking about, did I actually take this money and refund my OPEX account that amount? Refund OPEX account for the PPPF amount. Same thing. I want to take this amount from my income account and refund my OPEX account for that amount. These are just reminders for myself. You can change these however you want. This is just a template. Refund OPEX owner's comp account. So again, back to when I run payroll, everything comes out of my OPEX account when I run payroll. But I will take money from my owner's comp account and refund the OPEX account however much I paid myself salary. So if you're the owner and you paid yourself a couple $1,000s every 2 weeks, then add up the entire amount. Look, you should be able to look at your payroll report, and it'll tell you this is how much actually came out gross from that account for the owner, and you will want to refund that back into your OPEX account because that money you should not be paying yourself from the OPEX account. You're paying yourself from the owner's compensation account. Okay, so you want to make sure that you refund that OPEX account if that's where your payroll is being drawn from. Which, if you have employees, that's typically where it will be drawn from. Amex credit card. So these are like my main credit cards that I use. These are just reminders for me to go into those accounts and pay them off. I pay them off every 2 weeks. I don't like interest. I don't like that shit building up, so I make sure I pay them off every 2 weeks. That's what that reminder is for. Transfer your tax money to your savings account. So I have a separate savings account that I put all of our tax money in every 2 weeks. I made a post about this a few months ago. it used to be 2% that it would accumulate interest on this one Amex savings account. Now it's only down to 0.5%. You know, the Fed interest rate has gone down, and so those interest rates have gone down with it. But even 0.5% is better than the 0.02% you'll get in a standard savings account. So basically what I'll do is I'll say, okay, I had $1,500 going to my tax account, my tax checking account. I will take that amount and send it over to my tax savings account, so it'll at least gain a little bit of interest while it's sitting in there, because it's going to be sitting in there the entire year. You can get a few $100 or a couple $1,000 depending upon how much you goes into it. It's better than it just sitting there not accumulating anything. Transfer employer tax to OPEX. So that's what I was talking about back up here. It's basically saying take the tax money that was spent on payroll, pull that amount from your tax account and refund the OPEX account. I have this as a every 2 weeks checkbox, but I really only do it quarterly. That's just how I do it. You guys can do it however you want. Same thing here. Transfer employer tax to owner's comp account. That's just referring to this amount back up here again. And then finally, make your profit distributions. That's only going to show up quarterly, but it gives you something to look forward to. We like getting to this checkbox. That's a good checkbox. So it's just reminding you, take whatever amount you have here, pay yourself that amount, and then pay your vault that amount. So basically, whatever is here it will accumulate to whatever is shown up here. So again, you can see here, if we did another 10,000, it just adds to it. But if we add it, past this quarter, if we add it, this is Q2 starting in April, and we did 10,000, it's going to add it up in a new cell over here. So it's not going to add in here anymore. This is only set to accumulate the profit that has gone, the profit money in your account for the first 3 months. Over here, it's going to add up for the second 3 months, third 3 months, final 3 months. Okay? So that'll just kind of keep a nice running balance going for you. And same thing, this vault balance, it's going to basically take whatever amount you ended up with here, bring it over here, and then add in however much new money is going to eventually get put into that vault balance. So I know it seems a little complicated. Maybe watch this through a couple of times. It's really pretty simple though. Most of it, like I said, is just putting your starting amount in here, subtracting your sub out expenses, and it does the rest of the math for you. Then you just got to make your transfers. And these check boxes are just for reference, so you remember to do all the steps. And of course, feel free to add more steps in here if you have other stuff that you like to do. So hope that helps, guys. I'm going to set this back to pretty much neutral. Get rid of this. I'll leave some of these up here so you can kind of see it as reference when you get into it. But yeah. Oh, and I'm sorry. The last part is over here, you have your totals in your account throughout the year. So as money gets allocated into each one of these accounts, it'll tell you how much money has been put into those accounts over the year. And again, the main one that we were focusing on in the conversation yesterday is the amount that's in your tax account. So at the end of the year, I had money in my tax account, and then I started adding money to it again starting 2021. And I can't remember who was saying it. I think it was Brad saying, well, I don't remember how much money was in my tax account at the beginning of the year versus how much money I've added into that account this year. So I don't know if I have any actual rollover amount after I pay my taxes, or if that's just money that's been added to it this year. Well, this will let you know. This will let you know, hey, in 2020, or in this case, 2021, you put X amount of dollars into your tax account. So use that. I'll probably make some other adjustments to this as well, based on anybody's suggestions or anything like that you would like to see in here. But this should give you a really good, strong starting point. And again, this is, of course, assuming that you're actually using the fucking system. Use the system. Use the system. It's helpful. Okay? All right. This is about wrapped up. You guys got any questions? Hope I wasn't too long. I know I was too long. It usually is. But please comment. Hit me up, whatever you need, and I'll try to help any way I can. Have a good weekend, everybody.